And welcome back to another episode of Board of Advisors. I am your co-host, Rhonda Klch, today, and I am here with my friend Forrest. How are you?
Wonderful, Rhonda. How are you?
I'm great. So, we briefly met at one of the other Board of Advisors, and then we've disconnected.
Yes.
And at this event, specifically this one in Dallas, we reconnected. And, there's something to be said for going someplace more than once and connecting to
100%.
people and really having a better understanding about what they do and how that relationship is established.
That's
so
right.
Why don't you start with telling everybody a little bit about what you do so that they know how to access you?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you. And you definitely need to come back to these Board of Advisor meetings on multiple occasions because there's a lot of people, and it takes time to learn more about what they do. And what I do is fairly niche. It's not your traditional real estate play. And so I've been working in the funds industry for going on 27 years. I'm dating myself. Even though,
It's all right. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, exactly. A little experience there. Been, living in Ireland, living in Hong Kong, living in Singapore, New York, working on various different capacities for funds at the institutional level. And I kind of went from Wall Street to Alt Street. And I work at a company called Fund Launch, where we help aspiring fund managers scale their business. And we do that through a fund vehicle or through syndication. And we offer an entire education program, as well as an incubation program and an allocation, which is basically the network effect where you're trying to help people raise capital, which is, I guess, where you and I really got started in kicking off the conversation. Because
I was like, whoa.
It's like deal flow, because we have some of the best we have members in a community, 1,500 plus strong, that's growing leaps and bounds every month. And I think we're the largest private fund community in the country. And so that deal flow comes to us every week, every month, because we've helped over 400 people launch a fund successfully. And so as we venture into the syndications platform, we want to help mentor and help other people get through a few deal cycles so that they understand what they're getting themselves into. They can buy that house with some family friends money, or they can buy the apartment complex and do a couple deals, and then understand from a fund perspective what that scale looks like and feels like when you go out and try and buy 10 or 20 or something much bigger than what perhaps some individuals are used to.
So let me ask you this question. When people talk about funds, just like when they talk about real estate, they think it sounds so sexy. Like, hey,
everybody wants
I got
to be
a fund, right? I got a fund. I have real estate.
That's right.
It's actually, what you don't know, you don't know. So what is it that you will specifically do and help them to establish so that they stay compliant?
Sure. So we have a very thorough education program based upon a fund launch framework that we designed. There's 4 phases to it. We talk about developing, and refining your investment thesis so that people understand that they need to have a differentiated product. It has to be good. Otherwise, you'll never raise any money. The other piece of that is in how to form your fund. My dyslexia is getting the best of me. So in the fund formation piece of it, you learn what are the regulatory guidelines, how do you pick the right fund, what type of investors. We go through all those details with you through an online education program where you can watch videos. Then we get into capital raising, the how to get in the room, like this one, for example, who you should be targeting, high net worth individuals or institutional money. And then we get into the actual fund launch itself, where I've curated a best-in-breed agnostic ecosystem with legal partners, with fund administrators, with compliance, with other software providers, depending on what you need. And with all of that, we've got 22, going on 25 coaches who have every single bit of asset class experience across each of the different tracks. So real estate, venture, private equity, crypto, hedge fund, private credit, etc. And from there, they have office hours, 6 days a week. So you can speak with a variety of different coaches, learn what they've done, how they launched their fund. I also have other skill sets in there for people who don't know how to speak publicly. Because when you're sitting in a boardroom in front of wealthy people, it can be nerve-wracking. Yeah. So I have a professional speaking coach. And he'll teach you how to breathe and present and go through your pitch deck. And will also help you refine and make your pitch deck worthy of institutional or high net worth individuals reviewing it. And we also have sales and marketing, taxes. We look after all of those things. And we try to bundle it up and give you an opportunity to have something done with you or done for you. And with that is Black Card, which is the product that we've created at Fund Launch.
We spoke about Black Card, and I think it's an amazing, program and product. So let's explore that a little bit.
Sure.
Who would be the perfect avatar for Black Card?
Great question. The perfect avatar for Black Card is somebody who has experience in their respective niche, whether it's real estate or buying companies, for example, and having been through a few deal cycles, knowing what to expect, knowing what can go wrong, how to correct it when things go wrong, because guess what, they always do, and then how to rebound from that, how to communicate effectively, things of that nature. And so part of that experience lends it to becoming a fund manager. So once you understand what it takes to buy and sell something multiple times, you start to build up that credibility, that track record. And you have to have that, because otherwise who's going to give somebody who doesn't know what they're doing to go and manage their money for them? So you need a track record.
We spoke about that offline.
Yes.
About some of the deal flow that I get.
Yes, you do.
And
Get some
we were
interesting
talking
deal
about,
flow.
hey, this would strategically be a great partner to
Yes.
go into a fund. And then there are those people that absolutely have no sense of direction. And again, it goes back to feeling like having a fund is sexy and that's the best way to raise capital. And, my approach with my client was, I understand you want to create a fund. What is your plan in to raise the
Right.
capital? It's almost as if they think that those two things hand in hand. You open a fund and money appears. So what advice can you give to a small business owner that's looking to grow and scale? And what would constitute somebody really saying, I think this is the right platform for me, or I'm not ready? What advice do you give to those people that may not be ready?
Sure. Get out there and do some more deals, first of all, and become an expert in your field. When you're in the room speaking, people should be listening to you. You should have that gravitas about whatever it is that you're good at, whether it's real estate or venture, it doesn't matter. And so there comes a point in time in your career where you just need to scale in order to achieve your either goals or aspirations or your financial freedom, whichever is your end game. And so from that perspective, we mentor people, we coach them. They have to understand what the timeline takes, because you just don't become a fund manager overnight. And yes, it can be sexy, but there's a lot that comes with running a business and running a fund. Those are two different vehicles, two different
responsibility and liability.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Even though you're an exempt registered advisor, right, through the regulation with the SEC, you still have that fiduciary responsibility to effectively manage money responsibly and do so transparently. And this is where, if you don't understand some of those basic things, just go back to the drawing table, work on your thesis, rinse and repeat, get through the deal cycles until you are that expert. And that's where you can start to crush it. We've helped over 400 people launch funds successfully, and according to them, not us, because we don't audit their bank statements, that's not us, we're not the fund administrator, but they've said they've raised over $4 billion so far, which is amazing.
That's amazing.
And we just had one of our capital committee calls a few minutes ago, and we had two individuals present, one on basically a compounding crypto fund, which I thought was very timely given the agenda here at BA, and then also a real estate play, simple, down in Florida with apartment complexes. So we see all kinds of deal flow, which is fascinating, and I love it. I love watching all of these deals basically mature and come to market. And let's talk about some of your deal flow, because sometimes they're more interesting than mine, unless we're running out of time here, but we'll...
we're running out of time. So let's start with this.
Yes.
My deal flow, it varies. I take from startups to, multi-million up to billion-dollar clients doing acquisitions.
Sure.
And we work in the premise of visibility, credibility, and fundability.
There you go.
And I come to a room like this because this room is filled with resources.
Yes, it is.
Resources that I can use for myself for growing and scaling, as well as resources for my clients growing
Definitely.
and scaling.
Right.
How has it been with your relationship with BA for you to be able to plug in and use the members of BA in your business practice?
Surprisingly, it was immediate. I was shocked because I didn't know what to really expect. And so from that perspective, Mike was able to plug me in the right places because he's a super connector. That's one of his many superpowers. But I was able to connect with people like Stephen Hall, Scott Hoffman, Jeremy Worley, yourself, and just instantly understand that when you're experienced in your business and you know how the cycles flow and where people fit into those cycles, all of a sudden your world opens up into their world, and it's a network effect.
Yeah.
You now have a bigger network, and that's what this is all about. It's connecting with human beings, helping to improve yourself and also scale your business.
Awesome. Well, if somebody from BA wants to get in touch with you, how do they find you? On the portal, I guess, right?
Correct. They can just reach out to me on the email, forrest@fundlaunch.com.